it's me, Coco, and today I'm at the March for Manoomin. I am asking people what living an eco-friendly lifestyle means to them, and I think that we should really pay attention to what they say because some of the answers might surprise you. We're walking today to ask the Army Corps of Engineers to pull the permits for Line 3. The construction and the utility of Line 3 puts in danger the water resources in the area and for the wild rice which grows in the water. Already, because of the construction, there's already been pollution in the water, which means that the wild rice would be polluted as well. And some of these people depend on the wild rice for sustenance. We're walking not just for ourselves, but for future generations, and the stakes are really, really high. I hope that you listen with an open heart and that this touches you in some way.
Stop Line 3! 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 Stop Line 3!
Hello, my name is Alex Goldenwolf. Eco-friendly living means to me living in nature, which I already do, and it's very eco-friendly because you're not living in a house, you're not heating up or using air conditioning or using electricity all the time. You're relying on solar energy, and that's really really nice actually. And you don't have to be living in a permanent structure, and I don't like living in a permanent structure. Eco-friendly living is being able to pack up your stuff and easily move, I guess, because if you're living in a permanent structure, it's really hard to pack up and move, and you just have a tent, and simple items, day-to-day life, clothing, and it just yourself. And it's eco-friendly because you don't need that much amenities to get through the day by day, essentially. I think that's what eco-friendly means to me, is living in the woods, living at Camp McGeezy. Yeah, thank you.
Can't drink oil. Keep it in the soil. Can't drink oil. Keep it in the soil. We are the people. We are united. We will not let you build this pipeline.
Under present circumstances, it's hard to think about living in an eco-friendly way while we're under these systems of extractionist colonial capitalism that's destroying the planet, without factoring in that we need to destroy that and we need to stop all of the destruction that's happening to the planet. And there's no way we can confront living in an eco-friendly way while corporations are literally tearing apart the planet. It's a personal thing, it's a systematic thing, it's a choice we make to show up, do the work, stop these fucking pipelines, smash the state, and be in solidarity with the indigenous peoples who have stewarded this planet for generations before us.
When indigenous sovereignty is under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. When indigenous sovereignty is under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that. Water is life. Protect the wild rice. Water is life. Protect the wild rice.
I think first and foremost, I believe that living the most eco-friendly life would be listening to the indigenous communities of America and other places around the world, because these are the communities that have been protecting the planet and have been living the most eco-friendly lifestyle. And I personally don't think that the actually best thing we can do is something that's being marketed right now. I don't think we're hearing about how we can live the best life for the planet. And I think the first thing we have to do is put people in leadership who have been doing and living that lifestyle for hundreds of years. It starts in legislation. It starts in people who have the power and who the voices who aren't being silent. Along with that, I also feel like educating yourself on capitalism, consumerism, basic things like who's hoarding the wealth, who's hoarding land currently, because it's not the people who you would think it is. It's not these minorities and immigrants. It's the people who have tons of properties, tons of wealth that they're hoarding from other people, tons of land that they could be using to feed individuals. You have to ask yourself, the lifestyle you're living, is it complacent with capitalism? Am I falling into this system? And I think once you start to educate yourself on these, how the economy works, then we can get to a place where we're less dependent on consumerism.
Now is the time to protect the sacred.
I think eco-friendly living means showing up for the people who protect the land, which means Indigenous people around the world. So we gotta show up for Indigenous people if we wanna live eco-friendly, pure and simple.
Yeah, Indigenous people protect over 80% of the world's biodiversity, and biodiversity is the ecosystem. To protect biodiversity, to protect the ecosystem, to live friendly with the ecosystem, you have to show up with Indigenous people and protect them and support them.
Eco-friendly living to me is a mindset, and it's a goal in life that you want to have a minimal impact on the earth and the environment, and care and protect all of the life, not just humans, the plants, the animals, the trees, the water, living in a way that doesn't impact them. And I say it's a mindset because we have to also be considerate of those who have low socioeconomic status, because they don't have those resources. And it is a privilege to live eco-friendly or live sustainably, because I myself can't go out and buy a sunscreen that's double the price of the generic one. And a lot of that too is like greenwashing, right? Like companies, sometimes they'll say one thing and then it'll just be mind tricks that they're playing with you. It's not fair, because we are all in different situations, and like my good friend said, hate the game, not the player, because we're just players in this game and we're working with what we got. Another thing about being eco-friendly, which is a new term that's been coined after Indigenous peoples and peoples all over the world that aren't white have been doing for most of their lives and like their histories. Another thing is, I think being born Indigenous, being born Black, being born POC is already in itself like green. It's green. You have a low impact already, because we're not the ones that built this system that's dependent on fossil fuel, that is making all of these plastic products. And yeah, so my hot take is being Indigenous, being Black, being POC, you're already automatically on par with those white allies, those white folks who are living sustainably.
The wild rice. Water is life. Protect the wild rice. Water is life.
Protect the wild rice.
Line 3.
1, 2, 3.
Stop line 3.
1, 2, 3.
Stop line 3.
I feel like eco-friendly living means finding how you can live in closer relationship with the earth and all of its inhabitants. So spending time in nature and finding healing in nature, confronting consumerism. You don't need more stuff. We probably all need less stuff. So don't buy more stuff. Go to the thrift store and find ways to share or borrow things. Anti-racism is a big part of eco-friendly living. The Indigenous people have been here, caretakers of the land for a long time. They're still among us. If you live in a place where you don't know any Indigenous people, your land is still Indigenous land. And so get to know the history. There's lots of ways you can plug in and find healing in the earth, so we can all live in harmony and we can find these communities of support. So that's what I think eco-friendly living means. I know there's a lot of companies try to sell you eco-friendly living, and that's like greenwashing. Make your own food. Share food with your neighbors. Get to know your neighbors.